Hello and welcome to Raju Notes channel, your pit stop for weekly current affairs updates. The updates tailor-made for students taking all kinds of competitive exams like UPSC, civils, defense and placement interviews. Please subscribe to the channel and stay updated every Sunday. ISRO on Monday launched the geostationary launch vehicle F-12/NVS-01 mission from Sriharikota successfully. After a flight of about 19 minutes, the NSV-01 satellite was injected precisely into a geosynchronous transfer orbit, ISRO said. The NVS-1 is the first of the second-generation satellite envisaged for the navigation with Indian constellation NAVIC services. An indigenous atomic clock has been flown in NVS-01 for the first time. Prime Minister Narendra Modi congratulated Turkey's Recep Tayyip Erdogan after he was re-elected as the President of Turkey on Sunday this week. Taking to Twitter, Prime Minister Modi said, "I am confident that India and Turkey bilateral ties and cooperation on global issues will continue to grow in the coming times." World leaders, including US President Joe Biden and Russian President Vladimir Putin, also congratulated Erdogan. The Reserve Bank of India has conceptualized a lightweight and a portable payment system that can be operated from anywhere by a bare minimum staff. The system is being planned keeping in mind extreme and volatile situations like war and natural calamities. It is expected to operate on a minimalistic hardware and software and could ensure near zero downtime of payment and settlement systems. An assessment report prepared by Norwegian police security system claimed that Pakistan poses a significant threat to Norway. It has been claimed that Pakistan could use illegal ways, including deploying its researchers at Norwegian institutes to obtain details about technology, raising concerns over potential development of advanced weapon systems and weapons of mass destruction. India extended its 1 billion credit line to Sri Lanka this week by another year to help the country reeling under an economic crisis to procure food, medicine, and other essential items. An agreement was signed between the State Bank of India (SBI) and the Sri Lankan government for $1 billion credit facility in March last year. The Comptroller and the Auditor General, Girish Chandra Murmu, has been re-elected as the external auditor for the World Health Organization (WHO) for a 4-year term from 2024 to 2027. The Comptroller Auditor General is already holding this position in WHO since 2019 for a 4-year term from 2019 and 2023. The election was held this week in the 76th World Health Assembly in Geneva, where the Comptroller Auditor General of India was re-elected with an overwhelming majority of 114 out of 156 votes in the first round of voting itself. North Korea's attempt to launch its first military spy satellite ended in a failure after the rocket's second stage malfunctioned yesterday. North Korea said that an accident occurred as it planned to send up its first space satellite, causing it to crash into the sea. According to North Korean state media, the new satellite transport rocket Cholima-1 launch failed as it lost propulsion due to an abnormal startup of the engine on the second stage after the first stage was separated while flying normally. The Tele-law program has achieved a new milestone with 40 lakh beneficiaries across the country having been empowered with pre-litigation advice. The program is an e-interface mechanism to seek legal advice and consultations at a pre-litigation stage. It connects the needy to a marginalized in need of legal aid with a panel of lawyers via video conferencing and telephonic facilities available at common service centers situated at the panchayat level. The service Launched in 2017 by Union Law and Justice Minister, is now directly accessible through the Tele-law mobile app. Chinese scientists have begun drilling a 10,000-meter hole into the Earth's crust. Drilling for the borehole, which is said to be China's deepest ever, started in the country's oil-rich Xinjiang region on Tuesday, according to Chinese official Xinhua news agency. The narrow shaft into the ground will penetrate more than 10 continental strata or layer of rocks. In October 2023, the Indian Institute of Technology, commonly known as IITs, will open its first overseas campus in Tanzania. The campus, named IIT Madras at Zanzibar, will enroll 50 undergraduate and 20 master students. It will be one of the three international campuses of the IIT, with two others being opened in Abu Dhabi and Kuala Lumpur. Scientists have discovered a method to generate electricity from air humidity. Clouds, composed of charged water droplets, contain enough electricity energy. Based on prior research, they created the generic air gen effect using the bacteria grown protein nanowires. They found that any material, when prepped with nanopores smaller than 100 nanometers in diameter, can make electricity from humidity. The US CDC has warned that the cases of human metapneumovirus or HMPV have spiked, as per CNN report. HMPV can cause upper and lower respiratory disease in people of all ages, especially among the young children, older adults, and people with weakened immune system. Symptoms include cough, fever, nasal congestion, and shortness of breath. Clinical symptoms may progress to bronchitis or pneumonia. Humans have violated 7 out of 8 major Earth systems like water availability and ecosystem maintenance, a new study said. The global scientists introduced the concept of planetary boundaries 15 years ago to identify major Earth systems at risk of instability. We have reached a saturation point where we hit the ceiling of the biophysical capacities of the Earth, the scientists said. The Reserve Bank of India on Thursday launched 100 Days 100 Pace campaign to trace and settle the top 100 unclaimed deposits of every bank in every district within 100 days. This move comes amid the RBI's ongoing effort to reduce the quantum of unclaimed deposits in the banking system and return such deposits to their rightful owner or claimants. India and Nepal today signed 7 agreements in the field, including trade and commerce, cross-border petroleum pipeline, development of integrated checkpost, hydroelectricity projects, and payment mechanisms. The agreement were signed after delegation-level talks between Prime Minister Narendra Modi and Nepal Prime Minister Pushpa Kamal Dahal Prachanda in New Delhi. During the deliberations, both leaders reaffirmed their commitment to boosting the Indo-Nepal relationship in an area of economy, energy, infrastructure, education, and people-to-people contacts. Both Prime Minister jointly flagged off Indian Railway cargo train from Batnaha to Nepal's custom yard. The Prime Minister of Nepal arrived in New Delhi this week on a 4-day official visit to India. This is his first bilateral visit abroad after assuming the office in December last year. The United States Senate on Friday passed a bipartisan bill to lift government's $31.4 trillion debt ceiling. The United States has averted what would have been a historic first ever default. The legislation was passed by Senate with 63 to 36 votes. Earlier, the Treasury Department had estimated that US would run out of cash as soon as June 5th. Tata Group subsidiary Agratas Energy Storage Solution has signed a memorandum of understanding with the Gujarat government to build lithium ion cell manufacturing plant in the state of Gujarat. The company will initially invest 13,000 crore rupees in the project. The plant, with an initial production capacity of 20 gigawatt hours, is expected to create direct and indirect jobs for over 13,000 people. A train crash involving two passenger trains and a goods train in Odisha's Balasore this Friday is said to be one of the deadliest rail accidents in India. More than 230 people have lost their lives in the accident and 900 have been injured. A high level committee has been declared to conduct the inquiry into the train accident. While it is not clear what caused the crash, sources indicate a possible signaling failure. The national transporter also said anti-train collision system Kavach was not available on this route. Some of the previous deadly accidents in India include one in 1981 where 800 people were killed after a train fell into Bihar's Bagmati River. The Purushottam Express collided with Kalindi Express near Firozabad in 1995, resulting in 300 to 400 deaths. Over 200 people died in a train collision accident in Punjab in 1998, followed by 1999 Gaisal train disaster. An express train derailment in 2016 in Uttar Pradesh also killed about 150 people. German Defense Minister Boris Pistorius said his country will look into a report that former German Air Force fighter plane pilots have been training pilots for the Chinese military. The news magazine Der Spiegel reported that at least a handful of the former German Air Force officers are working as trainers in China, and they are often paid through companies in the Seychelles.
And now for the segment where we see the events that unfolded this week back in history.
28 May 1961, Amnesty International founded, dedicated to informing public opinion about human rights and to securing the release of political prisoners. Amnesty International was founded in London on this day in 1961 and won the 1977 Nobel Peace Prize. 29 May 1953, Mount Everest summit reached by Edmund Hillary and Tenzing Norgay. Following numerous failed attempts by others, Edmund Hillary and Tenzing Norgay became the first climbers to surmount Mount Everest, the highest mountain in the world, with 29,032 feet on this day in 1953. 30 May 1431, Joan of Arc burned at the stake. Having led the French army in a momentous victory over England at Orleans during the 100 Years' War, Joan of Arc was charged with heresy and witchcraft, and on this day in 1431 was burned at the stake. 31st May 1962, Adolf Eichmann hanged. On this day in 1962, the State of Israel hanged German official Adolf Eichmann, who had escaped from the prison camp in 1946 and spent some 14 years in hiding for his part in the Nazi extermination of Jews during World War II. 1st June 1980, debut of CNN. Ted Turner's cable news network CNN, headquartered in Atlanta, began 24-hour live news broadcasts this day in 1980 and gained worldwide attention in 1991 for its round-the-clock coverage of the Persian Gulf War. 2nd June 1953, Elizabeth II crowned Queen. On this day in 1953, 27-year-old Elizabeth II, the elder daughter of King George VI, was crowned Queen of the United Kingdom at Westminster Abbey, having taken the throne upon her father's death in February 1952. 3rd June 1989. Pro-democracy protest in Tiananmen Square crushed by Chinese military. On this day in 1989, the Chinese government called in the military to put down a pro-democracy demonstration staged by more than 1 lakh people in Tiananmen Square in Beijing, resulting in hundreds of dead.
Well, that's all, friends, for this week's updates. See you soon next Sunday on the same channel. Till then, take care. Bye bye.